hey, let's look at a tool who has told you over and over again that they are on the left and they are actually pro-choice. Were it not for the fact that Democrats are so pro-abortion.
So extreme
on pro-choice.
Look what you made me do. You made me have this position, but I'm still on the left. I'm still center left, at least, right?
And all the stuff all the inside info I had about what was happening on January 6th, so much so that we were actually played at the January 6th hearings. Here is Pim Tool, Tim Pool.
On his show,
yesterday.
Pool Water. Nope. I wish he did that, though.
It's too bad.
I know.
And here he is telling you the real truth. He knows, he has insight into the fact that there's no way a 10-year-old would ever need an abortion.
Imagine what would happen if a little girl went to a clinic and they denied her. And then the left went, look at what's happening. That would have been a powerful, powerful smack in the face of what was happening with these bills, with these heartbeat bills. There's a reason why they didn't try, because the greater possibility was medical exemption. There's no rape kit. There were no criminal charges, not until now. Why didn't anyone, knowing this girl, report this? This is why I say, ladies and gentlemen,
I mean, like, all of this is gobbledygook. You're going to use your 10-year-old daughter and in some type of like political stunt? This guy's a psycho. He knows nothing about anything. And if let me change that. He knows what he knows about. Skateboarding, gaming the internet to make a lot of money. A lot of money. He also knew, to be fair, about, video tech, which got him hired for hundreds of $1,000s at these, back when people thought the whole internet was going to be video, and he got these like news organizations to hire him, and they found out that, he's just an empty shell of what we thought he was. That's what he knows about. And then everything else, he just assumes he knows, even though this guy's range of experiences have been so limited. And then just says like, this is what a parent would do with a 10-year-old who's been raped and impregnated. And
that they would just use the exemption. I mean, that's immediately proven in just the first few sentences of the story, because the exemption was not able to be utilized, and there was no exemption, which is why the 10-year-old had to leave the state.
And again, this exemption thing is just ridiculous. There's no like, here's my coupon for an abortion. I got this through the exemption agency. That doesn't work that way.
And especially when you have to prove a particular crime of rape or incest, which takes months and months and months. And there's something about abortions where, you can't wait that long, or then it becomes untenable.
Yes, and like, there's no apparatus for like taking the exemptions. We've gone through this. If the life of the pregnant person is in jeopardy, like, how do you measure that sufficiently so that a doctor who might be afraid of getting arrested, going to jail, of having their license taken away, having hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines, going through court cases for years, having the full force of the state brought down upon them? Let's put it this way. These guys complain about getting demonetized all the time. Here's a hypothetical for them. There are words, bad words, that you cannot say on YouTube. This is a hypothetical. We've passed a law. Bad words that you say on YouTube, you're going to go to jail. Bad words. We all know what the bad words are. So if you do them, you're going to go to jail. How close to the line do you think this tough guy would get in saying bad words? Well, what are the bad words? Well, it's like words that we find offensive. That's what the measure of if the life is in jeopardy. People don't show up at the hospital going like with a little dial on their head. I am 70% in danger of losing my life if I maintain this baby. That's not the way it works. Continue.
There's no rape kit. There were no criminal charges, not until now.
Okay,
Why didn't anyone, knowing this girl, report?
Just pause it for 1 second. You don't need a rape kit for a 10-year-old who's pregnant. For a 10-year-old who's pregnant, you don't need a rape kit. A 10-year-old cannot consent to sex, so they have been raped. A 10-year-old cannot consent to sex, so that is what you don't. There's no
Definitionally.
I mean, you psycho, right? Like these all they want to give credence to QAnon types. Protect the children. Protect the children. Protect this child. But I guess it doesn't matter because it doesn't fit their political agenda. And I'm sorry, you talked about the coupon there earlier. The rape and incest exemption for Republicans is like a get out of jail free card for them for the actual dealing with the brutality of what they are proposing. When you bring up these exemptions, they are a red herring. They don't actually mean anything in practice. And so when you're giving those credence, that's why someone like Tim Pool is able to fall back on that, because it is a way to soften the blow of what they are actually proposing. So go on.
This is why I say, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe it is a hoax. Now, as to my previous statements, I want to make sure I clarify. I don't like the vague natures of this. There is a possibility that a little girl, a family might say, we go to the hospital and we seek an abortion and they don't give it to you. Well, that's it. It's over. You're done. You will carry it and they will not let you leave. And then what do? That's possible. And that's the kind of thing we need to be careful about. But I will say the opportunity for the left here was the PR move, which says to me, I think it's a hoax. I think it is a hoax in the sense, and I love the left is going to freak out and say, it really happened. I know it really happened. I mean, we've got it here. We've got the guy being criminally charged. Lock him up, throw away the key, boot him out of the country, whatever. Illegal immigrant who did this poor child. But I think the left is manufacturing and manipulating the circumstances to create a political story, because they probably would have gotten the services under the medical exemption. And if they didn't, it would have resulted in the AG coming out and saying this is wrong and we're going to make sure she gets the medical services she needs and all of that stuff. This is the game the left plays.
Yes, he somehow manages to blame the left because they didn't fully realize the PR potential of using this child in the way that he's using this child. It's just sick and twisted. But do not kid yourself. Tim Pool has arguably a political agenda, certainly espouses a political agenda because it's good for his YouTube numbers. Period. End of story. You don't pretend that you're pro-choice and then say this is just the shifty left using this real world case.
Yeah, the left, by the way. Aren't you a part of the left? Isn't that your brand, bro?
It's just
the radical left.
And understand, this is important because there are a lot of 15 to 25-year-olds out there who watch Tim Pool and think they're watching somebody who's giving you some type of reasoned analysis. And he's just lying to you. He's lying to you because he looks at his YouTube numbers. He looks at his YouTube numbers and he knows where his views are coming from. He doesn't give a shit about any of it. There is one bottom line that Tim Pool has, and that is the enormous amount of money he makes. And that is the beginning and end of why he does it. Period. It's why every person who ever worked with him ended up walking away from him. You can find them on Twitter. You can go back to the days in Occupy. That's why. Because they realized he had one agenda, and it was cash.
Yeah. And the best way to make money right now in political media is to pretend that you are the reasonable one and you're the last liberal, you're the last person who's holding the Democratic Party and the rest of the left back from being extreme. Even when you're espousing right-wing conspiracy theories, you pretend to still be on the left as a way for your entire audience to feel like they are reasonable. My positions are centrist because I'm a little bit to the right of the center-left guy, Tim Pool. It's just so obvious what he's doing. And I mean, I just, like, the idea that this family would be thinking about doing a PR stunt after their child was a victim of a rape and had to go out of state in order to get a medical procedure is just lunacy. Lunacy.
Again, exemptions are bullshit.
Yeah.
They don't function that way. They just do not function the way they pretend that they function. They don't. They do not. Period. End of story. They don't. There is too much fear on the part of people who would provide abortions in the context of of an exemption regime. Too much fear.